Hello, my name is Gregory Hoag. I'm the owner of Metaforms, and I've been working with sacred geometry for over 40 years. I build tools that support people in their consciousness, in their evolution, their spiritual evolution. And as a consequence, it's important to share how these tools actually affect day-to-day life, and I'm going to share with you now something about that springs from a book I just finished reading, which is a book, biography on Stephen Jobs, written by Walter Isaacson. Now, I've had Mac products since they were first conceived. I had the first Macintosh. I was waiting for the Lisa. I have had an iPad, an iTouch, an iPhone. I've got it all. Bottom line, I love Mac products, and by extension, I love their creator, Stephen Jobs. So this book meant a lot to me, so much that I really hated to finish it because I knew he was going to die at the end. And it was interesting to me as he approached death. It really seemed uncharacteristic from the way he really was in life, and that is, he forced into reality so many things by virtue of something his friends and colleagues called a reality distortion field. That is, he did not accept anything that he didn't choose to believe or want. And so he would twist reality to follow what he wanted to create. And he would hold a focus. He would hold an intent that was so intense that it would literally shrivel people around him if they weren't in alignment with him. So it was interesting to me that on his deathbed, he had moved away from that strong, decisive character and was literally saying that as far as God goes, he had maybe a 50-50% chance of believing that that was the reality. Which, you know, in my way of thinking, it's always curious that people connect the belief in God with eternal life. But nevertheless, he was wondering what was going to happen to him. And there was a certain amount of concern, fear there, that I think is shared by too many human beings. So I want to share some things with you right now. And what I want to share, it's not a belief, because I don't put much faith in belief, actually. And this is a short story to kind of share with you what I mean by that. You see, how many times do you or someone you know say, knock on wood? People will buy a lottery ticket, they'll go up to a metal desk with a plastic veneer on top, and they'll say, knock on wood. Well, why do you do that? What's that belief all about? You see, it started over 2,500 years ago with the Druids. And these are the people that inhabited England at that time, years before Jesus was born. And what they believed in was that there were spirits that inhabited everything. And so when they wanted to go on a journey, what they would do is they would go over to a tree, knock on the tree, and call forth the spirit, the dyad from within that tree, to come forth and give them support on their journey. So, good fortune. So here we are, 2,000 years later, knock on wood. That's a belief that has nothing to do with your understanding of reality, your mother's understanding, your mother's mother. All the way back thousands of years, we've been doing this knock on wood. And so it is with most beliefs. So what I'm going to share with you now is an experience. One of many experiences I've had that relate the reality of something greater going on than just this physical body and its short time of experience here on this planet. My parents were divorced when I was in 2nd grade. So we moved to a different city than where my father lived, and I didn't see him very often, and I wasn't that close to him over the years. He died in 1979, and in 1984 I was married to my wife, Gail. And actually we just had our anniversary a couple days ago on November 10th. So what happened was we did all the preparations for the wedding. We handled everything. And as a consequence, we were totally burned out when it was over, and we both got sick. What happened is we were just lounging around in our house, watching videos, not getting out of our pajamas, just staying in our bathrobes. And there came a day when we got all the pictures from the wedding. So we were looking at the pictures, and then my wife got up and went into the kitchen. I was looking at the pictures and then closed my eyes for a moment. And what happened is there was this vivid image of someone coming in who was at the wedding. I knew this person was at the wedding because when I closed my eyes, I saw all the other people around them, the decorations. It was at the wedding. And yet this person, I saw him so vividly that I still remember that image 26 years later, right now as I'm talking to you. And I couldn't figure out who it was. Every single time I closed my eyes, he was there. So what happened is when my wife came back into the room, she tunes in to things very well and can read other energies and has done some amazing channeling for people. Well, bottom line, I asked her, what's going on? Why do I keep seeing this being, this person? And so when she tuned in, it turned out to be my father. And he was basically showing me what he was going to look like in his next incarnation. There he was in a 3-piece suit, dark blue, wearing a vest, had a perfectly round head almost, big round blue eyes, blonde hair, combed it over from the left. You know, I saw all of this vividly, and he was telling us that he was working very hard, learning a lot about love. He was very sorry that he didn't really recognize who I was when he was alive, and he was determined to incarnate soon and come back and be a student of mine. As a matter of fact, he told me where he was going to incarnate, when he was going to incarnate, with whom he was going to incarnate. So I went there. It was someone I knew because that's why he did it. So when he was born, I looked down and there was the little being with the same round head, the same blonde hair, the same blue eyes. It was the small being that I had just seen in that vision and talked to as my father, who apologized again and again to me and said he was going to come back and be a student of mine. But as I saw that small being there, I realized I had to let him go as my father. He was now on another incarnation. And as we come through incarnation after incarnation, the veil we pass through, there's a forgetfulness where we have to rediscover who we are. We have to rediscover that connection with Spirit. And it's not up for any of us to tell another what it is that we should be doing. Because this is a free will planet. We have choice and we have to respect that. So I had to let my Father, go and let this other being come in. I know if and when he walks into my life again, I'll recognize him. I'll know who he is. But I can't tell him who he is, because that's not the point of how we play this game. We have to respect what each one of us is doing on such a deep level, and have that love, just as the angels, just as God, just as Source has that love for us, to continually allow us to discover and rediscover that love that we are, to be able to bring it through here. And so I wanted to share that story with you, to let you know, and this is just one of so many experiences I've had with my past lives, with other people that I run into, that I keep experiencing the reality of there is life continually. Not life after death, it's continual. That soul that we are, that part of our being that is there at the level of Source, at the level of Spirit, at the level of God, that never dies, has experience after experience in this incarnation or another incarnation, in this reality that we call the earth, or another reality somewhere else. But we're here to gather experience, to learn, to grow, to be able to bring through more consciousness, to bring through more love. That's our opportunity. And I wanted to complete by sharing with you a eulogy that I read, written by Stephen Jobs' sister, Mona Simpson. And what she was talking about was the final day, the final hour, that the family was there around Stephen Jobs. And what was happening was he finally came out of the unconscious state he was in, and he looked at each member of his family and looked at them, felt them, smiled, and then his gaze went off past them all. And his final words were, "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow." Our highest opportunity as a human being is in becoming a bridge between spirit and matter. In the flow of energy that arises from this relationship manifests all love, all truth, all well-being, and the purpose for our existence. The tools provided by Metaforms are created to foster this ascension process.